What if I told you that one of the most dangerous men on the WWE roster, a man being groomed as the next face of the entire company, was nearly erased from your screens permanently? Not because of a torn muscle, not because of a broken bone, but because of something so brutally painful, so quietly devastating, that even the toughest man in the Samoan dynasty had to tap out and go home. 11 teeth, people. 11 teeth pulled from his mouth. And the story behind why it happened and what it means for Jacob Fatu'S future is something WWE doesn't want you to overthink. But we are going to talk about all of it. Stay right there, because by the end of this video, you're going to see the Samoan werewolf in a completely different light, and you're going to have some serious questions about whether WWE truly has Jacob Fatu'S best interests at heart. Welcome back to WrestleScope, the channel that never flinches from the real story behind the curtain. I'm your host, and if you're new here, buckle up, because we don't do surface-level coverage. Let's rewind to October 17th, 2025, Friday Night SmackDown. The blue brand is buzzing because Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, is scheduled for a massive #1 contenders match against Drew McIntyre for the undisputed WWE Championship. This is the match that could have changed everything for Fatu. The trajectory was there, the momentum was there, the crowd was behind him like a freight train. And then, it didn't happen. Instead, cameras caught something backstage that made jaws drop across the wrestling world. Jacob Fatu laid out cold, drenched in his own blood, teeth, actual teeth, scattered across the concrete floor like broken glass. The arena went quiet in that sick, sinking way that makes you wonder if what you're watching is real or scripted. And that's the thing about WWE storytelling. When it's at its most powerful, you genuinely can't tell. Now we know the truth. The attack was a work, a carefully constructed angle designed to write Jacob Fatu off television so he could address a very real, very serious medical situation. But here's what nobody was prepared for. The details of that surgery are somehow even more brutal than the fake attack they used to cover it up. 11 teeth. Say that out loud. Say it slowly. 11 teeth pulled from Jacob Fatu's mouth during an extensive dental procedure that sidelined him for nearly 3 months. He was originally supposed to have 12 removed. 12! That's not a dental appointment. That's a war. And Fatu sat down with Busted Open Radio recently and for the first time opened up about not just the physical toll, but the mental and emotional weight of what he went through during those months away from the ring. Fatu said, "I really needed to regroup in my personal life, mentally and physically. Let's keep it real." And then he hit us with something that was honestly more heartbreaking than the surgery itself. He talked about being home for the holidays, October, November, December, New Year's, lying on the couch, recovering, with his kids around him. And he said that being with his children during that time was something he had genuinely lost touch with while grinding away on the road. Think about that. This man is out here body-slamming giants every single week, cutting promos that fire up arenas, working himself to the bone to become one of the top stars in professional wrestling. And it took 11 teeth and a forced medical leave for him to sit still long enough to just be a dad. That hit different. And if it hit different for you too, drop a comment below and let me know. Because this is the side of professional wrestling that the highlight reels never show you. But here's where I want to push back a little. Here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. Let me ask you something. This dental situation, was it truly out of nowhere? Or was this the result of years of punishment that a company running a grueling 52-week schedule rarely acknowledges? Jacob Fatu is not a small man. He performs at a ferocious, physically demanding level every single time he steps through that curtain. The Samoan werewolf doesn't take half steps. He launches himself off ropes, takes enormous impacts, and pours every ounce of his body into his craft. Dental trauma in contact sports is not uncommon, and when a performer is moving at the velocity Fatu moves at, week in and week out, without adequate recovery time, the body sends the bill eventually. Now, to be fair, WWE did the right thing by using a storyline to protect him. They gave him his time. They didn't rush him back. Reports confirmed the dental work wasn't cosmetic. It was medically necessary and serious enough to require time off. That's not nothing. And Fatu himself sounds genuinely grateful for the break, even if the circumstances weren't ideal. But here's what I need you to sit with.
Jacob Fatu was written off TV via a backstage attack angle that shows him lying beneath the production structure with blood coming from his mouth and his teeth scattered on the concrete floor. WWE turned a very real medical emergency into a television angle, and it worked brilliantly. And you cheered for it, so did I. But at what cost? The Samoan werewolf was bleeding for real in that building. He needed surgery, and the machine kept spinning. I'm not saying WWE did anything wrong. I'm saying the wrestling business is a beast that eats its own, and even the men and women we celebrate most are never fully safe from it. And that's a conversation this industry needs to have more openly. But let's bring it back to something we can all celebrate, because the Samoan werewolf came back, and he came back mean.
Jacob Fatu returned to Friday Night SmackDown on January 9th, 2026 during the undisputed WWE Championship match between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. He didn't come back with a soft reintroduction. He didn't come back for a feel-good babyface moment. He came back like a hurricane making landfall and immediately set his sights on the one man who cost him his spot at the top, Drew McIntyre. Since his return, Fatu has been on a warpath. He went after McIntyre during the brutal 3 Stages of Hell championship match. He qualified for major championship conversations. He competed against Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn in a qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber on February 13th, 2026. And while he didn't win that particular bout, anyone who watched it knows the man has lost absolutely nothing. The hunger is there. The explosiveness is there. The menace is there. And then on February 20th, just days ago, on SmackDown in Fort Lauderdale, Fatu confronted Cody Rhodes and expressed his growing frustration over being passed over and overlooked. Let me tell you something. A frustrated Jacob Fatu is the most dangerous version of Jacob Fatu. McIntyre is the undisputed WWE champion. General Manager Nick Aldis has been asking Fatu to be patient, and we all know how long that patience is going to last. The Elimination Chamber in Chicago is on the horizon, and the word from backstage is that Fatu is very much in the picture for what comes next, possibly all the way through to WrestleMania. Here's what I want you to really understand about Jacob Fatu's place in WWE right now. This man came into WWE as a villain in the shadow of Solo Sikoa's bloodline faction. He was a monster in service of someone else's story. And then, piece by piece, the audience started to see him. They saw the athleticism, the charisma that can't be coached, the primal, unpredictable energy that makes you lean forward in your seat whether you want to or not. Fatu has been cited as a future face of the company, alongside rising stars like Braun Breaker and Oba Femi. And the dental surgery, as awful as it was, may have actually done something unexpected. It reminded WWE, and more importantly the audience, of how much they miss Jacob Fatu when he's not there. His uncle Rikishi warned him about this, and Fatu shared it himself on Busted Open. When you're home, you're out of sight, out of mind, and the phone stops ringing. That's the cold, brutal truth of the entertainment business. But Jacob Fatu came back and immediately proved that the phone wasn't ringing because people forgot about him. It was quiet because the whole industry was holding its breath, waiting for him to return. The WrestleMania season is here. The road to the biggest show of the year runs directly through Chicago, through the Elimination Chamber, through whatever collision course Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre are speeding toward. And if WWE is even half as smart as they should be about their most magnetic stars, the Samoan werewolf will be standing in the main event spotlight before this season is done. 11 teeth, 3 months at home with his kids, a mental reset that even he admitted he desperately needed. And now he's back, sharper, more focused, and more motivated than he has ever been. The surgery didn't slow down Jacob Fatu. It woke him up. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Jacob Fatu post-surgery story that nobody else is telling you the full version of. Not just the teeth, not just the return, but the human being behind the werewolf, the real cost of this industry, and why everything happening right now with Fatu could be the beginning of the most important chapter of his career. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Do you think WWE owes Jacob Fatu a championship run after everything he's been through? Is his match with Drew McIntyre the WrestleMania moment this year needs? And who do you think attacked him that night in October? If you learned something from this video, if it made you think, if it fired you up,
then smash that like button right now. It takes 1 second and it means everything for this channel. Share this video with every wrestling fan you know who hasn't heard the full story. And if you haven't subscribed to WrestleScope yet, what are you even doing? Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a breakdown, an update, or a story that the mainstream won't tell you. We are WrestleScope. We go deeper, we go harder, and we'll see you in the next one.